Hello, I love you. Want to tell me your name? I'm singing this song because tonight we're gonna talk about this guy, Mr. James Douglas Morrison. Uh, Nobody get out of from here alive. That's the Brazilian version. Jerry Hopkins, Dennis Sugarman, I guess. It says by the New York Times, 2 million books sold worldwide. You know, first of all, my my first contact with the Doors, I was teenager, 12, 13, and I saw that movie, The Doors, from Oliver Stone with Val Kilmer in playing Jim Morrison, and I remember I watched this movie with some friends. You know, from I was in a theater group at the time, and I joined together with these friends. We watched. I think one of them had a VCR at home, and we got the tape and watched it. And it was interesting because at the end of the movie, we decided to have a band. You know, because it was so attractive to the life of a band, you know. And at that time, I remember there was some bands around here, you know, and our bass player in the band, he got in touch with a band named May Woman, we call Half Man in English. And then we started to being buzzing. The Dead Billies was there at the time too, so we started to bubbling around. So we say, oh, we're gonna have our band, man. uh, and it was named Os Calígulas. Funny enough, anyway. Uh, and that's interesting because recently I watched the movie and I couldn't stand 5 minutes because I felt such horrible because I think I met the real Jim Morrison and I said, it's too much, you know, exaggerated. Anyways, talk about this guy is really interesting. You know, in this book, it shows that since he was young in his teens, he used to be a different kind of guy. You know, he had a quick wit. You know, he was very well read. So probably he had the quick wits because he read too much. You know, so your your brain connections they work better than people who don't read, I guess. There's many interesting things here. You know that there's some sentences that he said that he was so crazy to the point that he could give in a false bill to a policeman. You know, to try to. I think the sentence is wonderful because it shows how heavy he wants to run the risk. You know, he wants to say, oh, "I want to go this far." You know, if people went that far, I go that far. Um, and it's interesting because in his life he had problems with police. You know, there's this story about the masturbation on stage. You know, all these things you read and you can find it easily. Uh, and it's also good because it shows that an intelligent man like Morrison had this problem with drinking and drugs and all these things. But sometimes, you know, when you read too much, when you're a sensitive person, you can't stand the burden of the world, you know, like how bad people behave, like you can't see too much hope on people's actions. So sometimes you destroy yourself because you can't stand that shit too much. You know? This book is also good because we tend to have an image of Morrison as a kind of really high intellectual and other things. This is one side of his personality, you know, because he used to be a typical a kid, you know, But actually, when you get in touch, because he was very influenced by the beatnik generation, writers Jack Kerouac, all these ideas of getting a car and going around without a place to stay, Uh, and it shows in the book also that he started to study cinema, but he couldn't fit on that, and he was discovered as a singer by accident. The story everybody knows. He met Manzarek, and they were just talking, smoking reefer, and Manzarek asked, "Oh, we're gonna put a band together," and they say, "Oh, I have some lyrics," and he starts to sing "Moonlight Drive." This scene is in the movie too. It's very iconic. Of course, talk about relationship with Pamela Morrison, called Pam for sure. And he's tragic, and in Paris, there are some conspirations. They say that he's alive, he's not alive, whatever. Some people say that he's alive, and he changed his name to Ian Astbury. People make a lot of jokes. For those ones who don't know, Ian Astbury is the singer of the band The Cult, and he used to join the Doors for 21st century. Kind of version of the Doors, for the strange version actually, with Stuart Copeland from the Police and the drums, without the John Densmore, the original drummer. So it's interesting to see. Check this guy, that image that you see in the movie, in the Oliver Stone movie, forget about it. Gene is much more than that, and he's the guy.